Hey, welcome back to Archery Universe. Today we're going to do a review on the Scott Archery Apex release. So I've had this Apex release for probably 3 or 4 days now. I probably only got about 100 shots through it, but I just wanted to go over a little bit with you some of its features and functions and my first thoughts of it. The Scott Apex is a brass release that's nickel plated, gives it the silver finish. There's different reasons, different people's opinions why you would shoot a brass release, a heavier release over an aluminum. Personally, I just like the feel of it in my hand. I like the weight of the release. That's why I opted for it instead of some of their other aluminum releases. So right here on the end of the release, you'll see 2 bolts. One down in this recess and one right up here on this bend. The one in the recess takes a 5/64 Allen wrench. That's your travel adjustment. And the way you want to set that is to go ahead and cock the release. Start off by turning your Allen wrench in a clockwise direction until the release goes off. And then we'll back it off a half a turn. So we start off straight there. So let's do that one more time. So we're going to turn the Allen wrench clockwise direction until the release goes off. When it goes off, we're going to back it off 1/2 turn. That sets our travel as light as they recommend setting it. The other one on the top is one of the reasons why I chose this release. It takes a 3/32 Allen wrench. It actually is the tension of the release. You can adjust this. Now they recommend 1/4 turn at a time. So if we go 1/4 turn tighter, the clockwise direction, that's going to make the trigger heavier. So when we think heavier, think in terms of weight it takes to make it go off. Again, the bottom one just travel, so that's how far it has to move to go off. The top one is just pressure, how much pressure it takes to make it go off. Now I want mine heavy enough that I can put my thumb against the trigger and not be afraid of it going off. So as I aim, I want to be able to load my thumb hard against the trigger and then pull into the release to activate it. Again, that's one of the reasons that I chose this release. I wanted to have that weight adjustment because it's important to have that release heavy enough that you can comfortably rest your thumb on the trigger. Now this release came with what they call a large thumb peg installed. Now that's a 1/2 inch knurled piece of aluminum. And it just threads on to the end of this piece here, and then it has a set screw inside it. Now to change those out, you're going to have to remove the set screw from this one, unscrew it off the post, screw this one on, and then put the set screw into the one you want to have on there. I chose the small one just because I like the way it feels against my thumb, and that's purely personal preference. No benefit one way or the other with that. This release also, it comes standard from the factory with the 3rd finger attachment on it. It does come with a 4-finger attachment included in the pack. It's pretty simple to change this 3rd finger attachment out if you wanted to put the 4-finger on. You remove this 5/64 Allen bolt. You remove this 50 thousandths Allen head bolt. And there's going to be a pin behind that. You can take that same 50 thousandths Allen wrench and push the pin out from this side. It's a tapered pin, it'll push away. On the 3rd finger adjustment, you can loosen that 5/64 bolt and that thing will rotate in and out. Now a lot of that's personal preference. Some guys may want it further out like this to get more leverage as they're pulling through the shot. Some guys may want it further toward the back or anywhere in between. A lot of that will be personal preference and relates to your style of shooting. Either way, it's customizable to you, and I really do recommend changing those things around when you first get it. Practice shooting it with that out or practice shooting with it in, halfway in between. Find out what fits you best and what makes your shot most consistent. I'm going to stick with the 3-finger attachment. I have adjusted the trigger post to the location that I prefer. It's really easy to adjust. You loosen these 2 bolts here, the trigger will move around. There's also a 3rd bolt hole here that you can move the release, or that you can move the post out. And again, that's going to be personal preference to how it fits your hand. I like to get it far back into my thumb. I pull into my shot to activate the trigger. So that's my style. That's the way I like it. There are reasons I do that, but yours may be a little different. So once again, try it in different locations. Don't be afraid to move it around. It's easy to put it back when you find a spot that works for you. The post actually comes in the farthest out position when it comes out of the package. I've moved it in. I've adjusted it around, made it fit my hand the way I want to at full draw. I've also got the travel as light as they've recommended, so that's a 1/2 turn out from the point that it sets off. But I did increase the pressure a lot, or the tension it takes to activate the release. I actually had it too heavy at one point, and my shots were a little inconsistent, taking longer than I wanted. So I started backing it out a quarter turn at a time. Got a little too light for me, went back a quarter turn. It actually feels pretty good right now. So why would I like this release? I mean, why would I pick it over something else? You know, everybody has personal preferences, so there's a few things that I like that this one offers. Obviously the adjustability, the ability to customize it to myself. I also like the fact that it's tapered. If you look, the index finger is thicker than the third finger. I like that. Personally, that gives me a feel that lets my third finger naturally curl around the release, makes it really comfortable for me. It's got a nice radius on the fingers, so it's really comfortable to put your fingers in there, but there's enough of a flat on the top that it's easy for me to set my fingers the same every time. So when I hook my release on the bow, every time I'm going to set my bow hand, and I'm also setting the feel of that release in my fingers. And I really like the edges of this release, the way it settles into my fingers there. It helps me get exactly the same spot every time. With that said, there's the basics of this release. I really appreciate you joining us today. If you don't mind, click that like button, subscribe button, and share this with your friends. God bless, shoot straight, and we'll see you next time.